the farmstead. It's a stormy morning here, so I am working inside today and I'm making some candles. We have our local farmers market going to open up in just a few weeks, and we also have a local trade days, and so I'm making some candles that I'm going to be taking to those events. Now, candle making is something I got into just because it was a skill that I wanted to learn, and it was also something I wanted to do to share with friends and family, and maybe give as gifts and things. And so I picked up a few things that have made it a little bit easier. You don't have to have all of these things, but some of them do make it easier. I did a lot of research before I actually started to see what all I would need, what kinds of wax I wanted to use, and I've used different kinds. I've used a blended wax, which is made specifically for candles. I have used pure soy wax, and I've used beeswax, and I like them all the same. They all melt and work a little bit differently, but in the end, I'd use any of them, and that's my choice. You may prefer to use just soy or just beeswax. That's fine, but for me, any of them will work. Now, for this batch, I'm going to be making a peach mango scented version. Now, I have my little picture here with, this is a block of blended wax that we get on Amazon. You can get it at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, different places. I would suggest that you get yourself a little pot. Now, anything that you are going to have your wax in, you're not going to want to use it for food again. And so this is a little pot. This holds 1 pound of wax, and it's great for a small batch if you're just wanting to make a small batch. So we have that. I have myself a little hot plate that I got to use as a double boiler. I have just a regular pot, and I actually have this came out of my Instant Pot. It's a little thing off the bottom of my Instant Pot, and it makes for a perfect little thing to sit in here. So we're going to put that in here and get this wax melting. I didn't know how much water I'd need, so I'm going to add a little water to this. All right, so we're going to turn this on and get that to melting while we talk. So you've got yourself a little pot. We've got jars here. You can buy jars at different places. I have some. These I bought at the Dollar Tree. Thought they were cute, and so I bought those at the Dollar Tree. I have some that I bought at the Family Dollar, and both, they're a good thick glass that I'm going to be using, but I'm also using canning jars. Of course, I have plenty of canning jars, and so in different sizes, and so that's what I'm going to be using for this batch today. I also bought some wax melt containers. Now, these I got on Amazon, but you can also find these at some of the other craft stores. Now, for me, since I'm going to be taking these to different places, I bought some warning labels, and I bought some for candles, and I bought some for wax melts. Now, these come in rolls of 1,000 or something for like $5.99. It's very inexpensive. So I bought rolls. That actually came in a 2-pack. So there's that, and there's my rolls for the wax melts. I have a little kitchen scale. It's just my little kitchen scale, and that's what I use to measure my wax. If I'm cutting off wax, I want to get as close to 1 pound, 2 pounds, whatever size the batch is I'm making, so that my proportions are right when I want to add my fragrances. So I have my little kitchen scale. All right, now for my canning jars, this size, this is a 1/2 pint. I've already put my sticker on the bottom. I have wicks. You can buy these in packages, Amazon, all the craft stores. And I have put it on the bottom, stuck it to the bottom. You can do it with hot glue. I have done it with these little glue dots. So these two I've already stuck. These two, I had some little shorter wicks from somewhere. So we're going to stick those in these little jelly jars. And all you do is peel off one side. It's like a double sticky tape. So there's that. Now, To get this down in the middle of the jar, they make little contraptions that'll center it up, be real fancy. I use a straw. Now I have cut a straw. I'm going to slide it down over the wick. That way I can hold the wick. I can squeeze to get through the wick. See if I can get this paper off this dot. They've been giving me trouble this morning. There we go. Gotta hold my tongue right, I guess. All right, so I've got my wick with my dot. I'm gonna put it in the bottom of my jar, and I'm gonna get it just as close to the center as I can. That way your straw comes out and your wick's in there. And I just kind of tap it down a little bit. All right, so there's one. Let's do this other one. Peel it up. Stick it on the bottom. Squeeze my straw. Get the other half of the paper off. There we go. Pull that. Get it as close to the middle as I can. Now when you go to pour your wax, you're going to want your wick to stand right in the middle. In this case, you're going to want it in the middle. There are lots of different variations of candles that you can make. You can make 2 wicks and 3 wicks and this kind of wick and that kind of wick. This is very basic stuff for me. That's as advanced as I am right now. Okay, so you can take, this happens to be a chopstick. Why we have chopsticks, I don't have a clue, but we have some. You can take it, you can wrap this around, and that will hold your wick in place. I found some of these little wick center tools. You just stick your wick up through, and it fits on the jar, and it's different sizes, so it fits on either small mouth, wide mouth, special jars that you have, and it will hold your wick in place while you pour your wax and while it dries. So this is what I use. And I think I got a set of 50 of these maybe on Amazon. Can't tell I love Amazon. They make it too easy. All right. Oh, you know what? I got my stickers. I'm gonna put my stickers on these. Where'd they go? Got some. Don't know where they went. Okay, but we'll do that. Oh, there they are, right there. Sticker on the bottom. And sticker on the bottom. And this just says, here's how you burn a candle, don't leave it unattended, that kind of thing. Okay, so there's my little jars ready to go. In this case, I'm melting 1 pound of wax that I've cut up. So I think that I can fill up these jars, and I can also do some wax melts. So I'm going to put a sticker in the back of my wax melts. And this is a warning about wax melts. It says use only in appropriate containers with tea lights, you know, that kind of thing. All right, so I may do, this may be too many, but I'm gonna do, I'd rather have too many than not enough, because when you go to pouring, you gotta pour. And I'll probably grab a couple extra of these just to have handy in case I need something. Anyway, all right, so there we go. All right, so keep our straw over here. Now, the coloring and the scent that I'm using. This is some candle coloring, candle liquid dye set. I bought this on Amazon. It comes with little tubes of coloring in there, and I put 2 good squirts of this in whatever batch I'm making, especially in a big batch. In this one, I'll probably put 1 good squirt, stir it up, and see if it's about the color that I want. Now you got to remember, when these dry, they're going to turn a little different. These, for instance, are a cucumber melon wax melt that I made a little earlier this morning, and they've hardened a little bit, and I wanted them green, and they've turned out a great shade of green. So if you want to make it an exact science, you certainly could measure this out with how many drops or how many ounces with your little scale or whatever. I'm not that. I'm not into making production candles. I'm not wanting my every batch in my production to be the same, and so a little squirt here and there is good for me. Now I'm also using, this is going to be peach mango. This is 1 ounce, and typically the rule of thumb is 1 pound of wax, 1 ounce of fragrance. Fragrances come in a multitude of sizes and scents. I mean, you can buy just about a scent for anything you would like. I get mine at Hobby Lobby. If you have a candle store that is local to you, say some of the big cities have one. I know up in Northwest Fort Worth, they have Lone Star Candle, and I would love to visit up there sometime where you can have all of your supplies. Again, I get mine at the craft stores. So, peach mango, and this is an orange that I'm using. Orange I'm using. So when we get ready, we'll have those. Now, we got everything ready. This is a little spoon you can buy to stir with. It comes in pretty handy. Skewers work great. Now when we get ready to pour this, I have a pancake squirt dipper pour thingy that I like to use. It's over there washing out from the last batch that I made, so we'll have that ready for next time. But this is going to take a little while to melt. You can do this on the stove. Any kind of double boiler situation is what you need to have. Just remember, you're probably not going to want to use your vessel that you melt wax in for food again. So keep that in mind when you're choosing. That's why I have this one that's made specifically for this, and that's all I use it for. We have a big pitcher over there washing that we use for our bigger batches. Now if you're doing really big batches, they have, it looks like a crock pot, but it's a wax melting pot with a spout on it. They have big ones that look like the big coffee, the old percolator coffee makers, when you're doing super big batches. But for just the basic, making a few at a time, these things work really well. So give this some time to melt, and then we'll come add our coloring, scent, and get to pouring. See you in a bit. It's been about 30 minutes, and that's what it took for this pound of wax to melt. I melt things pretty slow. I don't want them to burn. So it may not take you as long if you have a different setup, but that's what it took me. All right, so I'm gonna move this over to a little towel here. Now I have been watching the temperature of this wax with my little heat gun here. And it told me when it got up to 175 is when I took it off. Now this is what is recommended for this particular wax. Get it up to 175, let the temperature drop down to about 160, add in your color, and then your smell good, and then we're gonna pour it. So we're gonna give this a few minutes to cool off just that much, and we'll be back. It's been about 10 minutes, and we're down to 157 degrees-ish, which is fine. This is not a quick process by any means. Make sure you have time to devote to it if you're gonna start a batch I've been doing other things while I'm waiting on this. So it's all good, but just something to remember. All right, so we're down here. We're going to squirt us in some color. Again, I'm using orange because I'm doing a peach mango. I'm gonna use my little spoon. I'm gonna stir it up. That doesn't seem to have quite as much orange as I would like, so I'm gonna add some more. Again, not an exact science on my part, just for fun. All right, so there we go. That's better. It's more of a kind of a tangerine orange, which I like. Remember, this is gonna dry with and look like this. I mean, this was a transparent green when I started, but it dries, so. All right, that's really what we're gonna do. Now, to 1 pound of the wax that I had, I'm adding 1 ounce of scent. That's this whole bottle. Yep. Uh-oh. Stir, stir, stir. I will tell you, I made a batch of beeswax candles, and I went to put the scent in there and the coloring, and it globbed up. So something about the beeswax, I guess, that makes that happen. But it's more of a natural wax, I'm guessing. But I was surprised, but it all worked out in the end, so all good. Okay, I've got me all stirred up. Here's my pancake dispenser. Okay, so I'm gonna take my hot. I'm gonna hold it over something in case I didn't clean it good and I got a little bit of leak. So we got an old towel here, an old washcloth. So if I drip, now this will hold right at that whole pound of wax is about all this little pancake holder will do. All right, so I'm going to start with these small ones. I'm not going to fill it to the top. I'm going to give this about 3/4 of an inch headspace in canning terminology. All right, so I've got 3 of these, and now for the wax melts, I'm just going to fill up my little sections. Oh, this smells good. Good stuff. Oh, and I only made little ones, and that's fine because I'll keep this one and use it for me. All right, so there we have it. For 1 pound, we had 3 good wax melts and 2 8-ounce jars. Okay, now, question that I soon learned I had when all this was done was, how do I clean this stuff up? Because if it cools, it can make a mess. What you do, take your water and you pour it in here. Slosh it around and it will melt all that wax. I'm gonna put my spoon in here, which I need to clean too. One thing you need to have when you're doing all this is lots of paper towels. I'm gonna slosh that around and wipe off my spoon, paper towel. Now, I'm not gonna take you with me, but I'm gonna take this out to my front porch, and I have a spot that's just rocks. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour this hot water into this, swish it around, and that's gonna clean that out pretty good. And then when I come back in, I'll wipe them out good with paper towels. But to get the most of it out, you're gonna use the hot water that you've used to melt it with. Now, be sure and don't put that down your drain, because you know it cools off and it's gonna glob up, and that would not be good. But take it outside, dump it in a place that doesn't matter, and you're good to go. So I'm going to get that done. A couple things I want to show you before I do go. This is the bigger pot that we use for melting more wax. And then here is a little wick cutter that I bought. Not necessary. You can use scissors if you want. This just makes it a little easier to get where you want to go. And I try to cut my wicks right even with the top of whatever vessel I've got. So I'm going to hold this. I'm going to snip that. And there we go. And there's my candle. Now, sometimes you'll get indentions in here to where when it's dried, it's left holes or it's left cracks or something that's unsightly. Now for you, that may be okay if you're just going to use it at your house. But if you're going to give it as a gift or something, you can take a hair dryer, melt that wax again. I happen to have a heat gun, you know, one of the guys keeping their toolkits, but they gave me this one, so thank you. And I just melt this until the top looks all melted so that it's covering up those holes and things. And you can do that a couple times if you need to. So melt it if you need to, and so you'll have a nice looking flat top. I guess they do that in industry too, but something I learned when I got into all this. So there we go. Basic candle making 101, because that's the level of my expertise at this point. So it's fun. You can make any combination of scents you like and enjoy. Have them in your house, share with friends and family. Something fun and a good skill to have. So thank you for watching. Have a great day.